Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah. Thank you again for tuning in to the channel again. Appreciate the feedback. I appreciate the views and the comments, trying to build the channel up. If you're getting any benefit from the videos I posted, please like the video, please subscribe, and hit the alert button so that you can get notified when we post new videos. That being said, the name of this video is going to be called something close to like, hey, newbie, slow down. Okay. Uh, when you go to another environment, okay, whether it's a new job, whether it's a new country, whether it's a new relationship, no matter what it is, when you first enter into something, we understand we bring our experiences with us and our know-how and so forth. I'm going to now laser focus this on Hijrah and your new job area. So if you get a job in the Middle East, you are definitely going to see some things that look very strange. You're going to come across processes in your job that are either archaic, useless, a waste of time, a waste of resources, a waste of manpower. But that's the way it's done. I repeat, that's the way it's done. I will never forget my first year. In my first year in Bahrain, every teacher complained about everything. In my country, we don't do it like that. We do it like this. In my country, we do it like this. In South Africa, we do it like this. And in New Zealand, we do it like this. And in Britain, we do it like this. In Jordan, we do it like this. In Syria, we do it like this. But you're not in your country. Newbie, slow down, newbie. Yes, you are a newbie. You may have 15 years experience, 10 years experience, 5 years, 20 years. I know teachers who have been teaching for 35 years and more. But when you come to a new school, you are a newbie. You are a newbie. What are you new to? You're new to the process of that school. Be careful because, there's an expression that says the squeaky wheel gets the grease, right? But the other end of that expression is if the wheel squeaks too bad, it gets replaced. Okay, so let me clarify what I mean by these things. I don't mean that you should be quiet and not offer suggestions as to a better way, a more efficient way to do something, but you have to have some tact. Some of us, we are like bulls in a china shop. We say whatever and we don't care. If you don't like it, if you get offended, I'm sorry. And we attribute that to our personalities. And what you're actually doing subconsciously when we do things like that, we wind up getting our entire nationality, if I can say that word, stereotyped. So especially if you are British or an American. And I'm going to speak from the BAB or from the door of Americans because I have met Americans in my day in the teaching realm when I was overseas that thought they knew everything about everything. And you people are backwards. This is a waste of time. I had a teacher rattle off all of his qualifications to me when I came to, I had an announced observation visit. I came to his classroom. I saw how he was doing with the students, and he was having some issues with the students. He was having some problems off and on. And I didn't hear it directly, but off and on, I would hear, so and so was doing something in his class and like that. So that warranted a visit. And before I got out the door, he says to me, he caught me as I was walking out the door. He said, Abu Idris, do you know that I have a bachelor's in blah, 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 and a master's in blah, 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 and I have certificates to teach in blah, 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 and I have this and this and this and this. And I just looked at him and I said, well, why are you telling me this? He said, because this level of teaching is beneath me. Then why are you here? If this is so beneath you, then why are you here? Why didn't you take the other job? Surely you could have went over to XYZ University, XYZ Universal School, international school, XYZ training facility, XYZ training institute, and gotten a job there, but you came here. You have to do it the way they want. Now, there is a silver lining to this cloud, but let me tell you why you want to hold your tongue. You want to hold your tongue because you need to observe. You need to observe certain things that when you do them, when they tell you that this is how it's done, you're going to really be tempted to say, why? Why are you doing that like that? All you have to do is just do this and this and this. It's an easy way to do that. I find myself subconsciously and talking to myself whenever I watch a YouTube video or a tutorial rather on how to anything with Microsoft Excel. I'm like, why do you do that? Why don't you just write a formula? Why do you do that? You don't have to right click in it. Why don't you just do Control V? What? Why? Oh my God! Why would you do that? It takes too much time. We subconsciously see that, we have experience with that, we know what works or we know what we're comfortable with. Okay. And so we will start to spout off. And maybe the first few times you're tolerated. But trust me when I tell you, your colleagues will look at you as a know-it-all. The principal will look at you as a know-it-all. And it will get back to, the principal, the owner, your department head, whoever it is, it will get back to them like, Abu Idris is a nice guy, but this guy, he thinks he knows everything. He came in here, he was criticizing us about this. They will tell everything from A to Z, as they say. So what you have to do in your first year, newbie, you have to be quiet and observe. It could be, and a lot of times, I would say at least 40 to 50% of the time, there's a reason why it's done like that you don't understand yet, because you haven't been there long enough to know the history of why it had to be done that way. Okay. You will also find that your idea might lack the resources that you need. You may need to have certain things, physical items or certain things set in place in order to make that happen. And the resources either aren't there, aren't available, or they're not willing to purchase them. Okay. So you have to wait. After your first year, then you can say something. Okay. Because in your first year, they're going to say, well, how long have you been here? I've been here about 5 months now. That's not long enough to comment on anything. Newbie, be quiet, observe and learn. It may be that the system you see doesn't need to be replaced with your suggestion, but it could actually be improved if you take a mixture of what you're suggesting and using the resources that are available. Okay. Please be very careful in your first year. Okay. Nobody likes a know-it-all. No one likes someone that complains all the time. No one likes a person who, oh, in my country, we do it like this. And, and the worst thing you can say is something like, oh, this is stupid. That's a direct blow, insult to to your coworkers, to the establishment. You don't like the system, then we can't keep you on. Obviously, this is not a good fit for you. And then you're wondering why. I tried to help them. They don't want to listen because you're new. You have to wait. You have to wait at least 1 year. At least 1 year. And this is one of the reasons why teachers don't like jumping around. It's not a good idea for a teacher to go from school to school to school in less than a year. You've been over here 3 months, that didn't work out. You spent 6 months over here, that didn't work. 8.5 months over here, that didn't work. 3 days. I knew a teacher that came and stayed, I think, for 2 days and disappeared. Disappeared. Wait the system out. See how they do it. Can you improve it? Can you add something to it? Or can you replace it altogether? Also, there's no standard of what to do, how to do certain systems, many systems in the Middle East, because that's just, nobody's ever came up with that kind of metric before. Another thing that happens in the Middle East is that you find that the system might be bad and everyone says it's bad, but no one's going to change it. I'll give an example. I was at a school in Kuwait, and we were doing a lot of testing. They switched to a 3-term school year for that year, which is it was hell on earth because we were giving term tests every 6 weeks. So we would teach for 4 weeks, and then we'll review for 2 weeks, and then after the end of the review of the second week, we're testing. Then we had to grade, and it was this whole big like stage production of how we're going to grade papers and how we're going to administer tests and like that. So likewise, on the lower level or on the smaller end, we had to give tests or tests or exams or whatever every week. So the problem we kept running into every week, at least in my class and in all the classes, is the students, they don't know how to do test taking. They don't have test taking skills. Okay. Maybe no one thought to teach them that. Maybe no one knew that so that they could teach them. Maybe some people just stay in silent and say, listen, just give me my money. But that's what happened. So they didn't know how to take tests. So what happened in every single test, they needed more time. I need more time. I need more time. I need more time. Please, just 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute. This becomes a huge problem because you're giving your test within your class period. You're already structuring your exams so that the students can actually finish and have a minute or so or three to review what they've written down, change answers, whatever, and then you can still finish within the period and then get out of there. But you can't do that because, Abdullah, who really didn't study for the test, he doesn't have test taking skills. There are 20 questions. Abdullah didn't get past number four. He didn't know number four. He knew he didn't know number four. And he kept just staring at the answer, hoping that something would come to him while the time kept ticking. And now he's got 17 unanswered questions. And now you are being accused of not giving the students enough time, or you're making the exam too difficult and so forth. What you can do, what I did, when I saw this problem, I said, okay, I went to I found that we had a wealth of resources. And one of them was a CD. And the CD had a program on it that had all of the tests, the tests for all the stories we were reading. We were doing, I was teaching grade 9 and 10 then. So a lot of that was critical thinking and stuff like that. And they had different test formats. This was gold. Now I don't have to sit in front of a blank Microsoft Excel screen and try to think of questions from the story. It's already formatted. I can edit the questions to make them a little more clearer, but everything is laid out. And the bonus part is that it had a timer. It had a timer that you can enable on every test, and the timer would run. The clock will be shown in the top right hand corner, and then once the timer ran out, the test is over. The program shuts down, and it automatically grades itself whether you're ready or not. So I said, okay, I know that I'm not going to be able to sell that to my partner because I had a female partner, sister, who taught the girl side, not taught the boy side. I know I'm not going to sell that to her. But on our side, we have a computer lab. So I talked to the computer guy and I said, listen, I need this program installed, the CD installed on every computer. I think we had about 40 computers. I said, I need to have this installed. Inshallah, get to it. Inshallah, inshallah, inshallah. He's a computer guy. He doesn't know what I need it for, and I'm not going to be able to explain to him in the right way. So after about maybe 4 or 5 days of foot dragging, I said, listen, I'll install the system myself. Just give me the key, give me access to the computer room. I'll install the CD in every single computer manually because I couldn't hook up to the server yet. He agreed to that. I put the program on every single computer, uploaded everything, and then he taught me how to enter the server so I can do everything remotely. It worked beautifully, beautifully. Of course, I had to orientate the students, explain to them how these things work before we took the test. And largely it was successful. A few students will complain and a few students will always complain. That's just the way it is. So rather than me gripe and groan about, how they're not ready and this is a problem and blah, 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 I just did it for myself. Then after that, I brought it to the attention of the people, my supervisor and so forth, that this is what I was doing. Oh, well, they might not understand, we've already been doing it for 3 weeks. We've been doing it for 3 weeks. Have you had any problems? Slight. So the point I'm making is sometimes you can't get through to the people in your administration when you're new. So some things you just have to do them for yourself personally, as long as it doesn't detract from the body of work, as long as it doesn't detract from the quality of work that you're supposed to present, and you're doing exactly what they want you to do. You're just finding an easier way to do it. I am the #1 proponent of work smart, not hard. But you have to have some wisdom in that. Yeah, newbie. So when you get there, close this, open these. So you can see how the process is done. Then after that, you can say, I noticed that when we do X, Y, and Z, we tend to do this and this and this. I'd like to suggest that we try it like this because, and you have it in I won't say professional, you don't have to go out with a a pointer and some slides, PowerPoint slides, will explain the benefit and so forth. If they take it, alhamdulillah. If they don't take it, do it for yourself. Do it for yourself. Same content, you're not changing anything. You just found an easier way to enact the system. And that goes for everything that you see. The other reason, and I'll stop here, is that why you might meet some resistance is because when I did this same system, when I'm telling you about the CDN like this, on the girl side, it wasn't received very well. And that's because my teacher, who was quite younger than me, my partner was quite younger than me, and she had far less experience than me, and she was not as computer savvy as I was. Very smart, very nice, but not very computer savvy. And if you're not computer savvy, if you're not computer literate, you find these kinds of programs a little bit more than what you want to deal with. So you said, listen, I know that this by hand stuff is what is laborious, but this is what works. So you stay with what worked, even though it's going to keep you there for an extra 2 hours. Whereas I finished all my exams, everything has been graded automatically except the written portion, and I can move on with life. It didn't go over well, so we got called into the general manager's office. I had to explain the program to him. Who he is also not an educator. He's an engineer. And that's where you're going to find that kind of mixture. You don't necessarily have to be have a master's in applied linguistics or a master's in education. You could just have an MBA and enough money to make the project come into existence, pay the fees that are associated with that, the construction and all that other stuff, and have a certain amount of surplus to prove that you can pay salaries. That's really that. You don't need a whole lot. You don't need to be in the field of education in order to build a school, to build and even to run a school. Now, he couldn't come on as a principal because he doesn't have the educational acumen that he needs. So he was on as a general manager, and then we had a principal for the school. Okay, but everything goes through him. The buck stops and starts with him. Once I explained the program, he didn't understand it, so I lost it. I lost the program. They took it away. But I continued to do it for myself. So one of my teachers, my colleagues, when he came into the staff room, I'm venting a little bit because I'm a little frustrated. And I said, I don't understand why people wouldn't go for something that's going to make their job easier. And he said something to me that I will never forget. He said, Abu Idris, most of the time, we don't take that, not because it's a bad idea, but that's not how we learned it. That's not how we learned it. So when they went to school, when they went to university, and when they were in the different departments learning their fields, or this was they were taught a certain way, this is the way, that's the only way. A few of them have broken the mold and have went on to go beyond the teaching, but a lot of them, they have a fixed framework. That's where they stay. Okay, now you have to make a decision now. Okay, it's been a year. It's been a year now, and this is not getting easier. All right, if this is going to be a waste of my time and my talents and my resources when I could be doing something else and not working as hard, I think I need to go ahead and start putting my irons in the fire and start to move or look for somewhere else to go if that thing exists. If there isn't a place to go, then you're going to have to make a decision. Either I'm going to stay here or I'm going to quit altogether. Okay. But from the beginning, from the walking in, when you walk in the front door, be quiet, take your time, observe things. Even out in the street, in the society, amongst the people, so many different things that you're going to learn along the way. But first, you have to be quiet so you can hear and see what's going on so that your brain can properly digest what's happening here. Okay. Other than that, you're going to find you're going to have a very unhappy experience, and nobody wants that. Okay. So that's it, you guys. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. Check out my Islamic quiz and check out the spreadsheet I made for you guys. I hope that you get benefit from this, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.